go to a supermarket to purchase an item and you are leaving the supermarket, the security guard will usually ask you for a receipt that proves that you actually bought the item. Now, this applies for when you want to purchase a land. It is important that you have some certain documents that prove ownership of a particular land, that proves that you actually bought that land legitimately. My name is Shannon Okubo, and I'm going to be discussing some documents that you need to know when you want to purchase a land. The first document we're going to be talking about is Certificate of Occupancy. Now, this is the most popular document in Nigeria, and it is issued and provided for by the state government. The Certificate of Occupancy indicates that the right of occupancy has been taken from the government and given to an individual. Now, the Certificate of Occupancy also shows what type of building it is, if it is residential, commercial, industrial, or perhaps mixed property. The Certificate of Occupancy is also one of the most recognized certificates in financial institutions. Now, some lands already come with a Certificate of Occupancy. For example, there is a land at Urban Prime 2 Estate located off Abraham Adesoya at Ajah. It is a beautiful land selling for 28 million naira flat. This is amazing because you do not need to go to the tedious process of actually getting a CofO. The second document is the Deed of Assignment. Now, this is simply a document that indicates an agreement between the seller, the assignor, and the buyer, the assignee. For example, I am a seller of land and you are the buyer. The deed of assignment indicates that both you and I have agreed that this particular land belongs to you. So this deed of assignment contains the size of the land, the description of the land, the history of the land. It basically gives a very detailed information of what the land looks like. It talks about the promises that you and I will have on this particular land. It talks about the agreed costs and all other important details. So the deed of assignment is one of the very important documents that you must have to prove that you actually bought a particular land. Okay, the third document we're going to be talking about is the Gazette. Now, the Gazette is an official book record where all the excised lands are recorded in acres and hectares. Now, each community has a Gazette, and each Gazette contains the number of lands that the government has given to the public for sale. So that is what the Gazette is all about. So a land can actually be acquired or free. Acquired land is a land that has been taken over by the government, and a free land is a land that the government has given to perhaps communities or villages or local government to sell to the public. Now, these excised free lands are what are recorded in the Gazette. So the next document we'll be talking about is a survey plan. Now, a survey plan is usually handled by a surveyor in Lagos and is regulated by the Surveyor General of Lagos State. Now, the survey plan basically talks about how the land is, the boundaries of the land, the measurement of the land. Is it a 300 square meter land, a 500 square meter land? This survey plan indicates all the details of the land. It contains the name of the land, the owner of the land, the address, different information. It also has a very significant stamp on it that shows whether it is acquired or free. So for you to know whether a land is acquired or free, you should obtain the survey plan. The last document that we'll be talking about is the government consent. Now, the easiest way to explain the government consent is through this scenario. Perhaps I have a land in my custody and I would like to give my sister my land. I cannot just give my sister the land without her obtaining a government consent from the land. She would have to get the government consent to have full rights over that land. The Land Use Act of 1978 prohibits me from doing this particular act. You would have to go to the government to get a signature on the land to be able to have the right, the full rights to that land. The government consent is usually located on the deed of assignment and is signed by the government to show full approval of the land. So these are the things you need to know when it comes to land and land buying. You can subscribe to our channel, ask your questions at the comment section, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Flinex Realty. Check for our property listings at www.flinexrealty.com. Thank you.